Hi all, I just wanted to give you an update on the Real Life Mathematician project. So as you can see, the poster is done. You should be able to see it on your screen right now. I've posted this online, so if you go to the link on Brightspace, so let me see if I can share it on my screen. I've posted it onto my personal webpage, so biography of a real life mathematician. So this is where I keep a lot of um, my personal webpage stuff. So it's a downloadable file. So it's about 100 megabytes. So it takes a little bit to download, but you'll be able to zoom in and see each other and everybody's posters. And we'll talk about how the assessment works in a moment. But it's a little bit about like what the course is about. And it's got some scrolling images. So it doesn't capture everybody's file, but it gives an idea of kind of what's going on with the poster. So when we look back at this poster, let me go back to the poster here. You can see that as you scroll into it, you can see some really cool stuff. Like you see images of what people have done with each other, with their mathematicians. People talk about their impact with their mathematician. They've talked about why math. They've talked about pink-haired mathematicians. This has been a really cool project for me to read about these things. And so let's talk a little bit about the assessment for this project. Originally, this poster was going to be printed out and put on the walls at Robert Frost, and we were going to kind of, as a class, go visit the poster and talk about it and point out things, and we can't exactly do that right now. Notice that anybody who has submitted an image is up here along the top as mathematicians, because you are a real-life mathematician. Some of you didn't, and that's okay, but I've put all of those photos that I have up here. So let's talk about the assessment. So one thing to know about the assessment is that I've changed the date of the assessment. The date of the assessment is now due April 10th. And this is because we're not going to do the peer assessment part of it. This is just a self-assessment part, because we don't have that discussion, that face-to-face, the walking around the poster, that sort of component. And because the file is so large and the complications with that piece is not something that we have time to necessarily work out, in addition to the fractal project that we have going on. So the new due date here, again, is April 10th. I've updated that in Brightspace, so you have that on Brightspace. So let's talk about the components here. So you have, let me see if I can scroll back to this. Let me get back to this piece. Let me get it out of my annotate menu. So the assessment scale, so the scale is at a 25 points for how you assess yourself. So there's 5 bullet points for 5 points each. So how you presented the data, did you portray your subject as a human whose life and work everybody can learn? Did you use your biography to aid in our effort to demonstrate mathematics is a living, breathing, dynamic, humanistic discipline? So thinking about how real-life mathematicians are real people, were you able to talk about mathematical contributions in a way that was kind of accessible? Like, could you explain it to somebody else? Were you able to contribute those ideas in a way that people could understand? And then did you make kind of a good poster? Did you put some effort into it? Was it visually pleasing? Did you kind of mix the pictures up? Was it kind of nice? So there's 2 parts to this. So there's a self-assessment part, and then I will assess you. So your self-assessment is 1 to 2 pages, and it's got 3 components. So using the above scale, give me a grade that you would suggest out of 25 points, 5 for each of the bullet points, and tell me why you think you should get each of those points. So if you think that you didn't do a great job, give me a reason why. Second point, discuss your experience. Were you engaged? Did you have trouble? Did you not have trouble? Tell me about it. What were some positive, negative experiences with your real-life mathematician? Did you find their conversation great? Were you able to understand what they were talking about mathematically? Tell me about your experiences. I want to know. And thirdly, discuss your overall experience with the project. What would you keep the same? What would you keep different? What would you change? And then talk about the overall appearance of the poster. what were some things that would be adapted or changed? And to that, you can go into the link that I've shown on Brightspace to look at that poster and to download it and see the big picture. You should type this up and you should submit it on Brightspace before, again, April 10th. And the second thing is that I will assess it. And so I'll look at the requirements for the poster and I'll use a scale above to assess those pieces, as well as looking at your poster and making sure that the pieces that were required to be on your poster are on your poster. And then that the pieces for your mathematician, so were you in contact with your mathematician, all of those pieces were achieved. And so here's the rubric that was before. The first poster part is the same. So your images, your impact, and your overall presentation, those points haven't changed. And then your communication, I took out 10 points there and put it in the reflection. And so your communication, the appropriate email, the timeliness, and then in the reflection, the self-assessment, the discussion, and the discussion of the project. So give me some ideas of what you think, and we'll talk about that in class on Friday. I'll record this as well. But this is to give you an idea of how the self-assessment of the poster project will go. And then we'll also talk about the next project, which is the Design Your Own Fractal project, how that will be held for this next part of the course. So any questions, just let me know.